Is that where you want me to stay?
Drive Time Radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on TalkSport. Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the double O duo of the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksby and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksby and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents, and entertain the kids. With the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport.
Welcome back here to the Amex. We're building up to live commentary of Brighton against Southampton, which starts at the top of the hour. Just this one game this Monday night to finish off the Premier League weekend. Yesterday there were 4 matches and 15 goals. Here's the best of it.
Ball goes into the box with Zaha, cross it right across the face. It's 1-0, it's an own goal. An own goal, it looks as though to me, and it's come off Darnell Furlong. Furlong to put it in. Cahill blocks the first one, rolls it back, chance for Gallagher. It's what a piece. 17 yards out, great finish. Out to MacArthur, now to Zaha inside the penalty area.
Oh, it's a great goal.
2-1. Got the ball on his left, went to his right, curled it in past Johnston. It's 2-1. It's a superb goal. Chance for ball back. Benteke's got his first goal in goodness knows how long. Give and go. Ize's into the box to get the finish. Zaha's there. It is indeed a finish. It's rather easy in the end. A little bit of intricate play there by Ize and Benteke. Give and go on the edge of the box. Benteke back to goal. Spins, turns 5-1. 17 yards, and Christian Benteke with 2 goals in a game.
Justin, who crosses, might be brought down by all Brighton here. Left-footed volley. Perez on the follow-up. Lundstrom with the corner, and it's headed in. And they are back in the game. And Ollie McBurney has ended his 15-match goal drought. Maddison has found Vardy. He's in behind for the first time. Jamie Vardy wins the game for Leicester with seconds remaining.
Sort racing down the left here. The number 7 gliding in field onto that right foot. Has a curling goal. And what a goal from Hong in the Premier League and in style. And Tottenham have left off in North London. Final seconds here of the first half. It's Son. Can he get it onto his right foot? Slips in Harry Kane. Oh, it's a cracker from Kane. He becomes the all-time leading scorer in this famous fixture.
Oh, miscontrol here by Cody. Salah's in. And Mo Salah scores. Poor Connor Cody back at Liverpool. He's put his shirt over his head. A huge error leading to Mo Salah bearing down on goal. And right to Alexander-Arnold. Right footed low cross. 4-0. Surely Mane. It is. Sadio Mane at the back post. What a ball in. Like chocolate from Trent Alexander-Arnold. This may well have come off Semedo last. But Mane is claiming it. Mane is celebrating. Liverpool 4-0 up.
Yeah, loads of goals in the games yesterday. West Brom 1, Crystal Palace 5. Albion reduced to 10 men in that one, but Palace running out convincing winners in the end. Leicester, a game I was at, beating Sheffield United 2-1. Jamie Vardy with the last-minute goal there. Spurs beating Arsenal 2-0 in the North London derby. Fantastic goal from Son Heung-min, and Harry Kane with a spectacular finish there as well, described by our commentator Tim Long. And then last night, Liverpool thrashing Wolves 4-0 at Anfield. That's where we'll start, Alan McLaughlin. They just seem to keep on going, don't they, Liverpool, even when they've got so many injuries and people think, oh, you know, this could be a game, especially at home where they're now unbeaten in 65 games, but they come up with performances.
They do. Their momentum, their inner belief, their self-belief. I mean, you can see that comes from the manager as well. But, yeah, they're just, even with injuries and even with key players missing, the DNA and what's been the success over the past few seasons is the outlook on how to play, even though there are injuries, the belief in the squad itself, that everyone is good enough to be in and around it, and that's really important and really healthy, because if, you know, Jurgen Klopp and his staff are believing in the players and not too worried about dropping maybe young players in there, which they have done, and shown faith in them, then that breeds a real good feel factor around the place. And even though it was Wolves, who are a very good team, they just got beaten up in the end.
Top of the table, all these teams have played 11 games. Spurs and Liverpool 24 points apiece, Chelsea 22, Leicester 21, Man City and Man United have played a game fewer, United on 19, City on 18. Do you see that top 6 being broken into by any of the other sides?
I'd be very surprised, if I'm honest. I think that situation as it stands now will probably be the way it ends up. I'm not sure which way round it will be, whether it will be Spurs go on to win it, whether it be Man United with their indifferent season and performances can come up and produce something. Chelsea looking strong, Leicester in and around it as well, so it's a real tough one to call. But the way Liverpool have responded to the adversity and keep on going, for me they're still just edging it as favourites slightly.
Further down the table, Arsenal beaten 2-0 at Spurs yesterday. They're in 15th place. If Brighton win tonight, they go above them.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle, hasn't it? I think if Mikel Arteta hadn't won the FA Cup, and I think it was a Charity Shield, was it? Then there might be some serious questions about what's happening. One or two players look a little bit disenchanted, play some lovely football at times, but at the moment the key thing is that they're lacking a cutting edge in the final third of the pitch, and that wasn't the case not more than 4 or 5 months ago. They look bright and they look able to score, but teams quickly can work you out. And teams throughout the league can work you out, so they might have to find a different way. I know they want to be patient, and I know Arteta wants to play in a certain style which replicates a little bit the Man City style, but they just haven't got the players of that ilk yet. But particularly up front, they're just lacking that cutting edge, and again that could be a real problem.
But there's no way a team that should have players like Lacazette, Aubameyang, Willian, Pepe for the money they spent on him, he hasn't quite hit the heights we expected. They've scored 10 goals in 11 games. Is that down to form, or is that down to management?
I think it's down to the way they're set up to play, how they play. I don't see enough crosses in the box. I see lots of players coming towards the ball, linking play, and the ball doesn't go into the danger area enough for me. I think some of even Man City, when they get in key areas, will put the ball in the box and expect people to get across the near post. If anyone watches Cavani, and you watch him closely, that's the run he makes, and he scored so many goals throughout his career. Now there's lots of players now having to adapt to him, and him saying, I want that ball in that area, play it there. So I think they have to adapt their style I think you can still adapt your style slightly and get more crosses in the box, but that means people being committed to get across near post areas. And I still don't think, apart from Aubameyang, although Lacazette has a reasonable record, I don't think they're at the heights of the other teams in terms of personnel who can score on a regular basis.
West Brom beaten by Crystal Palace, but they had a man sent off, so sometimes things go like that. But for Sheffield United, just 1 point from 11 games played so far, they're in all kinds of trouble, aren't they?
Yeah, they are struggling this season, and Chris Wilder yesterday, he was on his haunches as the ball got played through, and I actually thought that the final defender for Sheffield United, although in the spirit of the game you might say, well, he's done the right thing, but I think he should have brought down Jamie Vardy. He should have taken the red card and brought him down, because that's what Jamie Vardy lives on. There was a slight error, but they've allowed that mistake to happen, and I think in that situation there, I think after the game, Chris Wilder and the wily fox he is, and the experienced manager he is, might be asking the question, well, why didn't you sacrifice yourself and bring him down? Because that point might have lifted him and given him a little bit of hope, but it's going to be a long drawn out season for them.
Yeah, Jamie Vardy sacrificed the corner flag after scoring that goal. He smashed that one to pieces.
He did indeed.
We're going to bring you back to this game now, Brighton against Southampton, which gets underway in just over 10 minutes time. Let's hear now from the Brighton manager Graham Potter, who's been speaking to Ian Abrahams.
I want to go back to fans coming back into the stadium. You're going to have 2,000 back. I was there for the pilot event at 2.5, and it actually sounded like a lot more, because your stadium, brand new as it is and magnificent as it is, also keeps the noise in, and is very good for keeping sound going around. So is that going to help in a way that, although it'll only be 2,000, it will probably seem and sound like a lot more?
I've always said that the crowd can help you. They don't physically keep the ball. We still have to play well. We still have to play against an opponent, and a very good opponent that's used to playing against crowds and Premier League teams. So it's not just a given that we turn that into a result, but clearly we're excited to have them back. We're excited to be with our supporters. The most important relationship in a football club is the one between the supporters and the players. That's where you can generate the most feeling. It's where you can get the advantage. It's where you can get the memories. It's where you get the emotion. It's so important. So to have them back, no matter how few, is a really positive step, I think.
You played well this season, and not got the points, I'm going to use the word deserve, that maybe you deserve. Is that fair?
Whether it's fair or not, it doesn't really matter. We've got the points we've got, and I'm not going to sit here and bleat about what we could have done or not done. It is what it is. In football, you get the results and you have to deal with it. It's up to everybody to analyse whether the performances are on the right track or not, and some people can't do that. They'll just focus on the result, and then the result it becomes quite easy to put a description on your performance. But from our perspective, we've done a lot of things quite well, but we always want to improve as well, and we know that points wise we're frustrated, and we want to try and improve that. At the same time, we face an opponent every week that's also got some good players and wants to win, and that's why we're in this league, to fight every day to try to take that challenge on.
The thoughts there of Graham Potter ahead of this one. Alan McLaughlin building up to the game with me. 2,000 fans back in the stadium, Alan. Does that create a strange atmosphere, or does it just have to be a boost for the players?
I think it's just more of a boost more than anything. It's more like a pre-season game. But to hear a reaction from a set of fans, you know, if you've made a good tackle, if you've blocked one on the line, if you've had a shot that's just gone wide, or it's hit the crossbar or the post, or it's gone in, then you will feed off that naturally. You will feed off that extra adrenaline you get from the supporters. So it is a positive, and obviously we'd like to see further down the line more fans in, but that will come in time, hopefully. But yeah, I think in the main, the players will see it as a positive, and they'll feed off the little bit of support they have, whether it be 2,000 or 1,500, whatever it is. It does boost both teams' ability on the pitch to maybe go the extra mile, go the extra yard, and you feed off that, because that's really what you're in the game for, to play in front of supporters. And sometimes it's small crowds, depending where you are in the league and your career, and sometimes it's huge crowds, and either way it'll be a boost for the fans and the players and the club itself.
We can hear from Ralph Hasenhüttl now, the Southampton head coach, who says that despite the league position that Brighton are in, down in 16th, they're a good footballing team.
Yeah, I can agree. Yeah, when you watch them play, I think it must have much more points, and it was last season the same. And yeah, it's a really tough opponent to play against. And they do a good job there. So always tough to go there and to win games. We have a good record there since I'm here, but there are no guarantees. We have to go there and give another time the best we have, and then hopefully it's enough for taking points.
Do Brighton deserve to be in the position they're in this season, Alan?
Yeah, I think they do. I don't think they've scored enough goals. It's similar to Arsenal, really. Play some lovely football, play out from the back, try to be progressive in that way. But the real deal is when you get to the final, the final end of the pitch, the last third. That's why you've got Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester and Man United. That's why they're up there, because they have players with the capabilities of being in a team that plays good football, but also they have the class players that do it on a week-to-week basis when they get half a chance to score goals. So, that's the ups and downs of the Premier League, or any league really, because it's defined by how many goals you scored in the main, and they just haven't scored enough to be a real threat. And like I said, with the likes of Danny Welbeck and Aaron Connolly, I'm not going to be too disrespectful, but they're really not going to frighten the life out of you if you're some of the top teams. That's where eventually Brighton are going to have to invest some heavy money in and try to attract some players that can hit the back of the net. But that is that means shifting a lot of money out the door and paying big money and breaking maybe whatever structure you've got. But that's a decision they'll have to make depending on whether they're skirting constantly at the bottom of the table.
Alan, for the moment, thank you. The fans getting warm inside the stadium here, getting themselves ready for kick-off, which comes next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio.
Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio. In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic destroids from the future, 0.
Excess.
Wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
And extremely strong opinions.
I spent my life covering the big games at the big level.
Beat medium wave and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plans, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Brighton Hove Albion against Southampton from the Amex. I'm your host James Fielden, and alongside me is the former Manchester United, Portsmouth and Republic of Ireland midfielder Alan McLaughlin. This is Premier League Live. The sound you can hear is the sound of fans back in this stadium again, looking to get behind this Brighton side who are in need of a win to pull them away from the drop zone. In terms of the team used tonight, just the one change for the home side. Tariq Lamptey coming back from suspension to replace Neil Mopai, who drops to the bench. Southampton unchanged in their all-white away kits here tonight. Alan McLaughlin alongside me watching this one. How do you envisage this one going?
It's quite a tough one to call, actually, if I'm honest. You probably put on form Southampton slight favourites within the game, but they can cause a shock. They are at home as well, Brighton, so I think Brighton will be more keen to get the point. Southampton, again, if they come away from this with a draw, they won't be too disappointed, but the onus is on Brighton to try and take the game to Southampton. But overall, you'll see two teams pass the ball around, particularly Southampton, but I think Theo Walcott and Che Adams will try to run in behind and try to cause the back three of Brighton some difficulties by stretching them. So it's a tough one. 2-2.
2-2, well, I'll take that. In terms of the team, you talking about that back three for Brighton. They've got Ryan in goal, Lamptey, Veltman, Dunk, Webster and March across the back when defending. White and Bissouma in midfield with Gross just ahead, we think. Connolly and Welbeck in attack. For Southampton, McCarthy in goal. Walker-Peters, Bednarek, Vestergaard, Bertrand across the back. Four in midfield from right to left of Armstrong, Ward-Prowse, Romeu and Gineppo. And then Walcott up front with Shea Adams. The referee tonight is David Coote. Remember, you can get in contact with us on Twitter at TalkSport Live. Send us your thoughts, opinions, predictions. The Brighton fans doing what they can to get behind the sides here, and as both sides take a knee, they get applause from the 2,000 fans inside the Amex.
Well, that's fantastic to see and hear.
We're underway. Two sides from the south coast, not strictly neighbours, not strictly rivals, but they meet here on this very, very cold Monday night down by the coast. And Brighton in possession straight away. Ball played down the left-hand side, and out it goes. Alan, I have to say, we've had a question in already from Benjamin Seidner, who says, did you go to school with Noel Gallagher?
I did, yeah, in the same class, yes. Many years ago.
Were they good music lessons?
No, actually. No, they were terrible, if I'm honest. And Noel gave me no indication at that particular point that he was interested in music whatsoever. But he was a mod, and he did wear all the gear, and I was too afraid to.
It's going to be on the personal life section of your Wikipedia page by the end of the evening, I think. Anyway, Brighton in possession here, trying to get a move going forward here with March on the left-hand side. Back he goes to Bissouma. Forward into Gross, who helps it on, looking for the run of Connolly here. Southampton giving it away towards Walcott, who manages to turn in the centre circle. Short ball out to the right-hand side here for Stuart Armstrong. The Scottish midfielder slips on this playing surface, and a first chance for a sarcastic cheer from these Brighton fans. I have to say, Alan, you know, we've all been accustomed to it now. Some of us have been lucky enough to go in the stadiums in the last few months. It seems so weird with fans back in the stadium, as though there used to be an atmosphere, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. And I mean, even physically seeing the fans in the stadium and the way they're spread out, particularly here at Brighton, is great to see. And obviously then, I mean, as you've seen, when that slip happened, 2 weeks ago, there's obviously no reaction whatsoever, but the Southampton player Stuart Armstrong certainly knew that he'd slipped, and the crowd made him aware of it.
Gineppo into the box here from the left-hand side, a ball right the way across the face of goal and out the other side. Southampton do have capable players in attacking positions, but he's done brilliant. A chance for them.
Yeah, he's done brilliant there, but you talk about a natural goal scorer. I think Theo Walcott, if he's really naturally, got an eye for goal, he runs across there, he takes the gamble that Gineppo mishits that shot, or he hits it and the keeper parries it, but he didn't move, he was static.
Yeah, cross-come shot in the end from Moussa Gineppo. Matt Ryan will have this goal kick here, the Australian. Weather a bit different for him back in his homeland right now. Walcott challenging on halfway. Looked like he fouled his man, and he did, as Bissouma hit the deck, and a free kick here for the home side, which they're looking to start the game with again quickly. And then it goes over to Joel Veltman, the Dutch centre-half, on the right side of the three here for Brighton. Lamptey back in the side tonight, tries to play the ball forward, but loses it to Adams. Walcott square of him. Adams spreads it to the right-hand side, though, asking a bit much of Armstrong. Just overhit from the Southampton forward. Trying to play it away now is Adam Webster. He loses it though. A chance here for Southampton. Down the right with Carl Walker-Peters. Has to go back here to the edge of the penalty area. Romeu. Spaniard out to the right hand side into Walcott. Wearing the tights here. He's all in white. Any tights back in your playing days, Alan?
Oh no, they would be definitely banned. And you'd be probably released from your contract, so...
Does it make sense though, if the technology is there to say that they're going to help you?
Of course, yeah. I mean, anything for them to stay on the pitch and play more games than...
March into Welbeck here, early chance, and an early take from McCarthy. Promising move for Brighton down the left-hand side. The ball rolled into the edge of the area for the run there of Danny Welbeck. It was his pass wide which started the move. And then as he carried on his run, busting a gut to get to the edge of the penalty area, it was laid in towards him, and deflection took it into his path, and in the end just couldn't get the purchase required on the shot straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's let the ball run across his body onto his right foot, and I don't know whether it might be more advantageous maybe to sweep it with his left foot, but he just didn't get enough power on it. And that's a key moment there. That was a good opportunity.
Meanwhile, Bertrand down the other end for Southampton tries to put the ball into the box, but Brighton able to deal with it. Lamptey, way down the right now, bundled down to the floor by James Ward-Prowse. Free kick Brighton. Seems like it's developing into an open game at the start, Alan.
Yes, certainly. Both teams willing to get the ball down, particularly Brighton. Nice play there in a tight area, and that's what they've developed with Graham Potter over the past couple of seasons. You know, he's not going to berate them if they do make an error there, but they have to be skillful, they have to be precise, exactly what they were, and the pace of Lamptey got him out of that situation. And I think it was further on in the game, maybe Ward-Prowse picked up a booking there.
High ball over the top, and a chance here down the right for Pascal Gross. Inside the box, Connolly square, and he didn't get the pass right. It was well blocked by Benenrek. Welbeck still there, away by McCarthy with his boot. Flag up now for offside, although Southampton had the advantage, so play will continue forward. Come out now with Armstrong. He has to go back, and what a chance there for Brighton up.
Well, it was, and like I said earlier, if they get into opportunities and have chances, they've really got to take them. And I'm not quite sure whether that actual ball over the top was offside and they allowed play to go on, but it didn't seem to be in the end. And he was just a little bit slow in his decision making. I think he was looking to try and play the square ball to Connolly, but he just took too much time and eventually smothered out. But another opportunity for Brighton. It's a bright start.
Another one where the offside was fairly clear. Talk about that in a second, because Walker-Peters away down the right here for Southampton. Leaves it for Walcott, edge of the box, swings one towards goal, but way over the top of the bar. Just going up to that late offside flag. It's what they're instructed to do now in this VAR era, but it just doesn't make much sense. It does make sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time, does it? Because, you know, there could be a passage of play after that where someone ends up doing themselves an injury, and it's all because, you know, there might be a move which ends in a goal. Does it make sense to you?
It doesn't really, but I've seen some good examples of the situation, and you think, okay, that's fair enough, but I've seen some, in the main, most of them are fairly negative in terms of, I think if the...
Gineppo into the box here on the left, can't quite get the power on his cross, and in the end slips as he gets to the byline, and out of play it goes for a goal kick.
He's a tricky player, isn't he, Gineppo? He really is. He's skillful. He can cause problems. One or two players slipping tonight. I think their footwear, because it's so cold here in Brighton, that the players are just struggling. And I think Ralph Hasselhout is looking around at his... I don't know who, but looking around, maybe complaining about the choice of footwear from the players.
Not a night for a mould, is it?
No, certainly not.
Southampton in possession here. It's at the back here with Vestergaard, who goes back to McCarthy.
But the problem is, these pitches are so perfect, they're actually quite hard, you know, out there. And you think, well, I'll probably get away with a mould there, but because of the weather is so cold, it becomes greasy on top, and that's where Adam Webster slipped early on in the game for Brighton.
A play here by Dunk. It's a Southampton throw. The fans have almost forgotten how to support football here. They're applauding simple headers out of play. Maybe they're just trying to keep themselves warm by doing a bit of clapping.
Yeah, it certainly is cold.
Southampton play the ball forward, doesn't quite reach Walcott. Ward-Prowse out to the left-hand side for Bertrand. Carries it forward here. The former Chelsea man cutting inside now towards the edge of the penalty area. Hooked into the air by Bissouma. Gross. Lamptey, good first touch to get him away down the right-hand side. Gineppo getting back with him, but Lamptey really is motoring down this right side. Now checks and goes back to the halfway line for Gross, who will switch play from right to left. Into the path of March, who scored a fantastic goal at Aston Villa to win the game a couple of weeks ago. It was the game that Lamptey was sent off in for 2 yellow cards. He missed the game here against Liverpool. Are you surprised that it's Mopai that's dropped out of the side for him tonight in an advanced position?
Not really. I just think we've seen it already in the opening 9 minutes of the game what an exciting player he is, and I think the manager Graham Potter is keen probably to try the combination of Danny Welbeck and Aaron Connolly and give him another opportunity.
March wins the ball back here on the left. He's challenged by Oriol Romeu, who puts gets it into touch. It's a Brighton throw, 0-0 so far with 9 minutes gone. Ball in towards Connolly here. Southampton get it clear. Webster in off the left touch line. Plays it back here to Dunk. Veltman in the centre circle out to Lamptey on the right here for Brighton and Hove Albion. Their worst ever start to a Premier League season at home. They've picked up 3 draws from 5 played here, yet to win. Both their victories on the road at Newcastle and Villa. McCarthy with a long ball pumped forward into opposition territory, up towards Adams. Flag up for offside. It's the man signed from Birmingham City. I think he's slowly finding his feet in the Premier League now.
Yeah, he is, and all credit to him, because it is difficult going for a huge fee to a football club, particularly being so young as well, and expecting to go straight into the team or make an impression and score 5, 6, 8 goals, 10 goals, and that's the pressure he'll put on himself. He's finally found his feet, and I think he's got real potential.
Do you think when changing divisions and going up through the divisions as Adams did, you have to naturally adapt your game, or do you think you can have the arrogance to go in there and play as you did previously?
I think you realise there's a huge gap between playing in the Championship and playing in the Premier League, and I think it comes as a bit of a shock to quite a lot of the players. So it's a matter of adapting your game and upping your game and making sure you're doing everything you can technically, tactically as well to be astute in that, because if not, you'll soon get found out and you'll end up slipping back down the leagues again.
It's a free kick here to Brighton. The fans making plenty of noise spread across the stand opposite us here in the main stand, and also in the north stand to our left. The stand to the right, where the away fans normally are, is still empty and covered in the branded banners. Hopefully the amount of fans let in these stadiums will increase over the next few months, especially with a vaccine supposedly on the way very shortly. Brighton free kick here, high Southampton line. Gross sends it into the box, free header for Dunk, and over the bar it goes. Great chance for him there as well. Great ball whipped in, and a free header for the Brighton centre half.
It was. He's actually arrived. He's come from deeper. He's gone early. He's bludgeoned his way through the Southampton defence. Not sure which player he ran into. I think it was Walker Peters, and he's bowled him out of the way. And then he's quite far out in terms of getting a header, but he'll be quite disappointed with his header in the end, because it wasn't on target. It was high and wide, and I think he had a little bit more time than he thought. I think the player behind him was a Brighton player, and he probably thought it was a Southampton player, so he rushed the header.
Strange, you don't see too many runs like that normally from those kind of wide set plays, do you? Because he started 5 yards further back, and the Southampton defensive line had to stand where it was going to stand, but he was always going to have the momentum to get past any defender who was going to mark him, wasn't he?
Well, it's a little bit like American football, wasn't it, with a linebacker blocking for him, and he's managed to barge his way through.
Really good Monday night game here at the Amex. Lamptey foul on halfway. Yellow card coming out here for Musa Ginepu. I'm not sure too many people had too high hopes for this game, but it's promising on chances created already, isn't it?
It certainly is, and the players certainly seem fired up, don't they? There's lots of energy. It's open play. It's not slow. It's not laborious. It's not, 20 passes around the back. Both teams are really trying to play forward quickly.
Ginepu yellow carded, the first man to be booked here this evening. Ward-Prowse has the ball inside his own half. Goes back here to Bednarek. In turn finds McCarthy. Southampton is edging possession so far. Still is blown here by the referee. It's a Brighton free kick on the halfway line. Bissouma leaves here now to Veltman. He's feeling pain, but takes the free kick and finds Lamptey on the right hand side. Lamptey is on the right wing. Do you think he'd struggle in a flat back four given his size?
I don't think so. Kenny Sampson, who used to play for England and Arsenal, wasn't very tall, and particularly in an era that was more direct in terms of how they played, and he coped with it. Certainly he's more comfortable playing out as a wing back, isn't he? Or a right-sided player or a winger. That's more comfortable for him.
Well, slicing to the air here, Ryan comes to collect and holds onto it inside his penalty area in his bright orange shirt. It wasn't a great piece of defensive play there from those in front of him, but he comes to bail them out in the end. Nearly 14 minutes gone, 0-0 here between Brighton and Southampton. Ryan ready to send this one long, up over the halfway line. Comes off the head of Welbeck, finds March, headed back forward by March now. Gross, who's just playing behind the front two. Dunk trying to find a way forward. White in the end was the man fouled, and a free kick here to Brighton, who are asserting themselves more and more on this game now, you'd say.
Yeah, they're just spending a little bit more time in Southampton's half, and they're driving forward. If they get an opportunity, then there's not been too many sideways passes tonight, has there, so far? Particularly from Brighton, they're looking to play forward as quickly as they can, and trying to expose maybe the two centre halves of Southampton. Maybe they feel that the pace of Connolly can really be a threat, but that hasn't really happened at the moment.
Ball taken out to the left-hand side here for Brighton. Can they get a cross in? There are 5 blue-shirted players in the box and march to aim at. Oriol Romeu gets it clear. It's out of play for a Brighton throw on the left-hand side. By the way, the draw for the World Cup qualifiers was made earlier this evening. England drawn in a group with Poland, Hungary, Albania, Andorra and San Marino. Fairly favourable group there for England.
They'll be delighted with that. That's
not too much to worry about, I don't think.
No, certainly not. No.
From probably a lively game in Warsaw. Against the Poles. It's a free kick here to Southampton. Fans, by the way, allowed back in the stadiums, but certainly no away fans. They're still going to be a long way off yet. I think more due to the fact that they're just a bit more boisterous and a bit more social maybe than home fans who attend games. They're not allowed in the grounds yet. McCarthy will take this kick. Everyone's spaced out by 2 or 3 seats in the stand. High ball played forward towards Adams, but a towering header from Webster. Up towards Walcott now. Dunk underneath it. He gets his head to the ball. Armstrong tries to help it down. A big hack forward from Oriol Romeu. Goes all the way through to the goalkeeper.
Well, certainly an attacking force. Southampton really haven't come to the party yet in terms of finding any sort of rhythm. At the moment, Brighton controlling proceedings and looking more of a threat, certainly going forward.
Ball played forward, a push on halfway by Vestergaard. Seemed to be anyway on Gross. Oriol Romeu goes back to Walker-Peters. Ward-Prowse, who scored plenty of free kicks already this season. 3 of the 6 scored in the Premier League overall. Such wonderful and almost unique technique when striking a dead ball. Brighton will do well not to give him any opportunities around the penalty area tonight. Another play here for a Brighton throw on the left-hand side. Nearly 17 gone, 0-0. Brighton's average age of their team so far this season is just 25 years old. Only Villa have a younger average starting 11 in the Premier League. I think as a manager that's quite a hard thing to balance, going for youth and energy and pace over experience and nous.
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's potentially the policy of the football club in terms of how they interact with Graham Potter, and he's got his philosophy, or the club has their philosophy, and that's what they want. And they want younger players playing. They want to be playing attractive football, and I think they're really trying to develop players to try and also move on and sell on for, to pay for the facilities they've got, the stadium, etc., etc. So there'll be something they'll be looking to try and maximise. They have the likes of Ben White, who's been attracting interest. They paid big money for Adam Webster, and I'm sure he's another one that might attract interest further down the line, and he's still a young player. And obviously Tariq Lamptey, as we've mentioned, so they'll look to balance the books at some point.
I think it's Dan Ashworth, isn't it, who's the director of football here. Welbeck here down the left-hand side for Brighton, inside the box square for Connolly, near the penalty spot. He thought the ball was on to the right-hand side with Lamptey, who wasn't quite there in the end, but it's headed away by Gineppo.
Just a little bit of inexperience there, I thought, from Connolly. Good play, broke the play up very well. Welbeck did well, managed to get himself into a wide area, and he played the ball into Connolly, and then I thought Connolly would play an instinctive 1-2 with him, and I think if he plays that back into Welbeck, there's half a chance there that Welbeck might get something.
Ball is out of play. It's Brighton's ball. It's Brighton's corner. The first of this game. It's been very watchable so far. Allen going for a 2-2 scoreline before kick-off, and if it stays as open as this, we could have a few goals. March's corner from the right-hand side. High in towards the near post, and side.
Well, that was a decent ball into it at near post area. It's an area that obviously Ward-Prowse looks to exploit. Played him with his left foot. So the Brighton players, the likes of the Webster, Dunk, need to be getting across that near post area.
March goes short this time from the right. Two Southampton players go out to try and stop them making the angle. He's swung in from deep instead by Veltman, but that should be McCarthy's ball, and picks it up, hammers it downfield, looking for a quick breakaway. Chasing after is Adams, but Lamptey is the man back there for Brighton. Probably the kind of defender you want in those kind of situations, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he's got a towering header in the far post, but I'm certain. I mean, I'm not sure why Brighton played a short there, because it caused untold problems with the first corner in terms of the quality of the corner, and I thought I just might have repeated that corner again just to try and unsettle Southampton.
They've got considerable height as well, haven't they, with Veltman, Dunk, Webster and White all in the box. Four centre halves on the field in one position or another tonight. Here is White. Spent last season with Leeds, as Alan was saying, a much coveted player. Leeds wanted to take him into the Premier League with them, but didn't get that opportunity. Dunk back here to Ryan. Clips the ball away to the right hand side. Lamptey keeps it in with the header, but Welbeck can't control on halfway. Throw in Southampton. Bertrand will take it. According to the stats, it says that Southampton lose possession more times per Premier League game than any other side in the league. Would you say that, watching them with the naked eye?
No, I actually wouldn't, to be fair. I wouldn't. I mean, there's got to be somebody, I suppose, in that situation, but I wouldn't have said Southampton, if I'm honest.
Quite bold, aren't they? Still playing a 4-4-2, which seems to go in and out of fashion. There was a period last season where a number of teams were playing it. Do you think it suits the personnel they have, being that open?
I think with Walcott and Shea Adams, certainly. But again, if teams play and once they lose possession, drop deep very, very quickly, then it becomes a little bit more difficult, and you lose that extra person in midfield to try and play through. But if you're going to sit in, like, for example, Tottenham did yesterday against Arsenal, and sit in that deep and then try to counter-attack, well, then sometimes it's quite advantageous.
We were talking about Liverpool earlier. I think you were saying that they're still the team to beat. Do you think Spurs can push them all the way?
I think with the front three they've got, and if Bale can get himself anyway fit enough and probably a run of games, then yeah, they've got every chance.
March down the left hand side here for Brighton, nearly midway through this first half, looking to run here at Walker-Peters. The play goes off Armstrong. I think the pace has picked up in this game because of the fans that have been here getting behind them. I think that's natural.
I'm not sure. I just think it's the way the two teams are set up, and I don't think the extra fans have maybe done that, but certainly there's a good tempo to the game, and at some point this tempo will drop, and I think it's at that point which team will take advantage of that.
Do you think there's been any drop-off overall in terms of the quality of football we've watched? We'll get on to that in a second, because Djenepo's coming forward, edge of the penalty area, challenged by Lamptey, away by Dunk. Do you think overall in the Premier League, you know, the start of this season, the back end of last, as we saw after the restart, that the football has been any worse without fans?
I don't think it has, if I'm honest. There's been plenty of goals, there's lots of penalties, there's been lots of creative play, exciting play at times. I think just naturally the atmosphere lends to, with a full house, lends to obviously the twos and the highs and the lows of a game, and I think people read a bit too much into it. But I just think, I don't think the players have changed their mindset just because there's 2,000 fans in here tonight.
Ball played forward by Ryan, but Walker-Peters gets after it straight away. It's a great lung-busting run to the edge of the box. Walcott trying to play the ball over, offside against Theo Walcott in the end. And free kick out on the left-hand side for Brighton. Not really happening for him so far in the game, is it?
No, that's surprising that he gets offside there, because he just needs to hold his run, because there's only one place the pass can go. Massive frustration of Theo Walcott. You know, a fantastic natural talent when he was younger, but he's just not consistent enough for me on a regular basis, and then that little situation there probably sums him up a little bit. It's that inconsistency and not sure what you're getting from week to week.
Are you surprised then, given when he left Everton, that he'd get a club as progressive as Southampton, albeit he used to play there, of course, in his early days?
I think they just saw an opportunity to bring a boy that had been there as an academy player and bring him home and maybe try to get the best out of him, you know, by saying to him, look, you are going to get a run of games, you are going to play on a more regular basis. And I think if the team's winning, and like I said, at the moment they're in 7th place, so at the moment you could argue it's probably been the right move for him, and he probably feels better in himself, because he looked out of sorts.
There was an arm up inside the penalty, and the referee points to the spot, and Brighton have a penalty. Well, that was absolutely bizarre. I don't think anyone could believe what they saw there. The arm was above his head, and the referee, David Coote, understandably points for a penalty. James Ward-Prowse there.
Yeah, I'll have to see this again. It's a throw in, and it's just hooked in by Connolly. Oh, it's listen, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously his hand's in an unnatural area, but I mean he's running one way, he's trying to gain some balance, he puts his hand in the air, but the letter of the law, I think that'll change next year.
I think there's one thing having your hand out by your side and saying it's in a natural position, but he had his directly vertically above his head, didn't he?
Yeah, and the ball went behind him, so I can understand his frustrations. But an opportunity for Brighton.
Brighton have scored 3 of their Premier League penalties this season, 4 they've had. Pascal Gross has 1 goal this season, and that came from the penalty spot right at the end of the draw against Liverpool last time out. Here, halfway through this first half, he has a chance to put them ahead against Southampton. It's Gross against McCarthy. Gross steps up and drives it into the corner, and these Brighton fans have a goal to cheer once again. It's been a long, long wait for them. Not since February have they been inside this stadium, but they're back now and they're cheering goals again. It's Brighton 1, Southampton 0.
Well, a nicely taken penalty, well struck. Wasn't quite sure about the run-up, and never am when they have that, little stutter and stammer. But he hits it very well. The keeper goes the other way. He possibly might have got something on it, but I think the pace was good enough. Keeper went to his right and Gross went to the left, and they find themselves ahead, but confined himself. Really unfortunate. It's a really unfortunate situation there. Certainly for me, no intention at all from Ward-Prowse, but it's just unfortunate that's the way the rule is this season.
Yeah, their actual last game in here with fans was the derby defeat against Crystal Palace. A game I'm sure that locals would like to forget pretty quickly. Actually, all the ever-present teams in the Premier League from 2020 into the end of the year, both seasons, they've taken the fewest points of all 17 teams who've been in both seasons. Graham Potter's only won 14 of his 54 games, but he does seem to, I wouldn't say get lauded, but praised and thought of as quite, an adventurous modern coach, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and certainly there's been managers that with slightly better records than that have lost their jobs, but I suppose they've decided at the football club they have to try and have some sort of DNA and something that's going to stick for 4 or 5 seasons and be consistent and put a plan in place. And if that involves maybe bouncing down once and coming back up again, if possible, that's what they're prepared to do. So he seems the man for them, and like you say, he has got lauded considerably over the past year for the way his team have come on, really, more than anything, as a passing team.
Well, out of play here, it's a goal for Southampton, who are yet to have a shot on target in this game.
They haven't threatened at all, have they, so far?
What do they need to do more of? Do they need to be more aggressive and on the front foot?
Well, they need to retain the ball more, and they need to play in Brighton's half more. At the moment, it's been quite comfortable for Brighton. Like I say, Theo Walcott, Chadham's not in the game at all, because the midfielders haven't, got a grip of the game. Maybe the extra player in there for Brighton is just causing him 1 or 2 problems in midfield.
Free kick to Southampton wide on the left. Ward-Prowse will be the favourite to swing this one in. In-swinger towards goal. Everyone on their tiptoes is left to Bertrand instead, who puts it into the box. Body's flying down. March was on the deck at one point. No free kick given. It is a throw in to Southampton on the right-hand side.
Well, I'm surprised Ward-Prowse then didn't whip the ball in, but it went to Bertrand, and actually it was a good ball into the box, but defended well by Brighton.
Had another tweet in here. It says, do you think Lewis Dunk deserves an England call-up?
Not with the amount of centre-halves that there currently are. I don't think so. I think he's a very good player, but is he England quality? I'm not 100% sure about that.
Would you rather have him or Conor Cody in that role?
Well, it's difficult. I suppose Conor Cody would just slightly shade it for me.
Southampton free kick right-hand side. Keep your questions coming in for Alan. He'll answer anything and everything for you this evening. Well, just about everything. Ward-Prowse with a free kick on the right-hand side. He puts this one in, though. He clips it in high instead towards Vestergaard, who nods it into the area. Acrobatically cleared by Bissouma back there, who then heads it out as well towards the halfway line. And Connolly tries to help it on here to Lamptey, who's away down the right-hand side. Tarek Lamptey trying to get there. He's into the box, but Forsyth tries to put the ball over. Into the chest this time of Ward-Prowse, and behind for a corner.
Good play from Ward-Prowse. A good recovery on. Lamptey just got impeded slightly. It was a nice little touch for him. Walker-Peters went for the ball. It just slowed up Lamptey. It just allowed Ward-Prowse just to get across, and this time he kept his arms firmly by his side and the ball hit him in the chest.
The corner here for Brighton. Brighton fans really do love Yves Bissouma singing his name here in a chant to the Tequila song. March with a corner from the right. We played half an hour here at the Amex. Brighton 1, Southampton 0. Gross's penalty 4 minutes ago. March in this time. McCarthy punches into the air. Back into the box by Gross. Two players there in Brighton's shirts. Dunk was one of them. Now the flag goes up for offside after the move dies down. Free kick here for Southampton inside their own penalty area. In terms of the two benches tonight, by the way, Jason Steele, the sub-goalkeeper for Brighton, Neil Mopai, Leandro Trossard, Alireza Jahanbash, Stephen Alzate, Bernardo and Dan Byrne, Fraser Forster, the sub-goalkeeper for Southampton, Jack Stevens, Shane Long back on the bench, Danny Ings back involved, Nathan Redmond likewise having missed out recently, Mohamed Salisu and Ibrahim Diallo all on the bench this evening. Redmond had been struggling with a thigh problem, which is what had kept him out of the last couple of games. Brighton looking relatively comfortable here now, aren't they, after a frenzied first 10-15 minutes?
Yeah, they look comfortable. Southampton have been toothless really in everything they've done so far.
Welbeck down the right-hand side, carrying the ball here after receiving it from Connolly. Played away by Walker-Peters as they try a crossfield pass. Out to the left-hand side from Webster. Into Bissouma, who's pulled wide onto the left. His cross into a good area towards Welbeck on the chest and struck towards goal. Over the top by Pascal Gross. Brighton creating lots of opportunities here, but the score remains 1-0.
Well, that was a nice ball into the box. Welbeck just chests the ball down to Pascal Gross, who's got himself in an advanced position. And just, I think it was the big centre-back, Vestergaard, just did enough just to put him off in that situation. He just hurried him up, and by doing that, Gross just hasn't had complete control of the volley, and it's flew over the bar.
No one's really taking responsibility for Gross either, are they? Oriol Romeo didn't really know where he was, Ward-Prowse neither. They've got to make sure his runs are tracked, haven't they?
They certainly do. They have to not ball watch in that situation when the ball's wide particularly. But Brighton controlling the game at the moment, and I'm pretty sure the Southampton manager is going to have a few harsh words at half-time to his team if they don't improve in the last 15 minutes.
March down the left-hand side here. Bissouma, three in the box. Gross, Connolly, Welbeck. Can Bissouma get the ball in? He's still going. He's on the goal line here, but he can't cut the ball back. Some half-hearted claims for a penalty from the Brighton fans. And in the end, Brighton give away the free kick in the right-back area for Southampton. And the attack is over for them. Graham Potter, though, Watchalong will be reasonably happy with what he has seen.
Yeah, he'll be delighted with his team at the moment controlling the game. He'll be getting instructions on the next few minutes to give him, let them know there's 10 minutes to go. Let's not do anything silly.
Oh, and Lewis Dunk here perhaps has talked himself into trouble here with the referee. David Coos is having a strong word with him.
He's been really told off there, hasn't he?
So I thought he was going to get the yellow card out. He started frantically whistling.
I think I have to go and stand by the corner flag, face the stadium.
Ball played forward here to Walker-Peters on the right-hand side. I thought we'd already had a bit of a mock school lesson earlier when James Ward-Prowse put his hand up wanting to say something, gave away a penalty. Bertrand's cross here from the left-hand side, played away by Veltman at the near post. Southampton corner.
Yeah, Southampton's first corner. That's the first forward incisive pass by Southampton, and a lovely pass as well, just in behind Lamptey, who just tried to anticipate a pass square, and it's good defending in the end.
So a corner kick here to the Saints. No side has scored more first half goals than them so far this season, 12 of their 19 before the break. The first corner of the game for them to be taken by Ward-Prowse. Good delivery right underneath the goalkeeper. Manages to get hands to it. Gineppo back into the box, headed away by Dunk. Gineppo again with a flying header forward. Adams on the left-hand side. Manages to bring it infield. Swings the ball from left to right to Armstrong, who floats one back into the box now on the diagonal. Headed away this time by Veltman, and Bissouma trying to help it out. Veltman into the right channel towards Connolly. It's another play for a Brighton throw. Connolly looking to take it quickly, but no one really in a position for him to find, and in the end it's left to Pascal Gross, who in turn will leave the ball here for Tariq Lamptey.
Well, if Southampton, think by floating a ball into the box from them sort of areas that they're going to get any joy, that's going to be quite difficult. Apart from a corner, because it's only really Vestergaard and Bednarak who would be capable of maybe getting a header in there. The ball has to be wide and whipped into the box for the likes of Che Adams or even Walcott to maybe get anything out of that situation. But just floating it in there, it's just not going to work on a regular basis.
Southampton a throw here on the halfway line. They've won 2 of their 5 away games so far this season. Wins of Villa and Burnley. Throw in here in front of their coach, Ralph Hasenhüttl, who arrived at the club just about 2 years ago, the 5th of December 2018, when he replaced Mark Hughes. Haven't heard much of him since then. They have a safe pair of hands overall in the Austrian.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I said it's been a bit of a roller coaster at times. There's been some very poor results, but they've found a way, and again, I think he works the players pretty hard as well in terms of their weekly programs, etc. So he's added a bit more professionalism probably into the club, and they have a style. As I said, they're playing 4-4-2 at the minute. They certainly like to attack when they can. What they've been disappointing so far in the opening 37 minutes of this game, they really haven't imposed themselves on the game.
Yeah, a man who had a pedigree when he came to Southampton, having been one of the early coaches with RB Leipzig. Ingolstadt got them promoted from the German second tier. Alanya Aachen got them promoted from the third tier. Former Austria international back in his playing days with the likes of Köln, Salzburg, Austria Vienna and Greuther Fürth as well in Germany. Gineppo trying to bring the ball forward down the left hand side here, but it's gone out off him for a Brighton throw. Lamptey will take it here. 8 minutes to go in this first half. Brighton leading thanks to a penalty from Pascal Gross after James Ward-Prowse's handball. Che Adams down the left here, trying to drive forward. He's left the ball behind him temporarily. Running here, White. Adams tries the ball inside, but it's really, really poor from him. Do you think they'll waste much time in the second half before bringing on someone like Danny Ings? Asking that in a second as Ward-Prowse plays in Walker Peters down the right. Tries to drive the ball across, it's deflected, and Brighton play the ball away. Ings and Redmond both on the bench tonight, Alan.
I don't think they'll make immediate substitutions at half-time. I'd be very surprised. Danny Ings, they'll be looking to get on for at least 30 minutes just to get him back in, just enough time to get his legs going and cover some decent distances. But I think he'll wait 15 minutes, and if it's not changing in the second half, then I think that will be when the key substitutions will be made. But I think the current players might get a little bit of a flea in their ear at half-time from the manager.
Yeah, they've got a relatively easy game this coming Sunday as well in the Premier League as they host Sheffield United. Of course, just 1 point from 11 games played so far, 10 defeats, beaten yesterday by Leicester in the last minute at Bramall Lane. The game's just been a bit bitty in the last 5-10 minutes, hasn't quite had the flow of the previous half hour.
No, that intensity's dropped slightly, and again I think that's because Southampton have gained a little bit more possession, so the game's evened itself out. They've had one decent move forward only, which was a good pass that ended up in a corner, but that's been it for 39 minutes, so they need to improve their passing forward, and Brighton will be quite content to get to half time if they can at 1-0. But the two centre forwards for Brighton really haven't been in the game that much, have they? You know, Danny Welbeck, Aaron Connolly, half a chance for Welbeck. But it's more of been a midfield game, hasn't it?
Walker Peters down the right hand side here for Southampton. There's one in field. Armstrong takes over. Basuma had a nibble. Bertrand left corner of the penalty area now. Gineppo on the outside. Still Ryan Bertrand trying to find room for the cross. In the end goes back here to Armstrong, who's drifted over to the left hand side, forcing himself wide here. Nipped away by Basuma. That's a fantastic challenge there by the midfielder, trying to get Brighton away on the attack now, but doesn't work out. Alvio Romeo stepping forward with the ball. Square here for Walcott, edge of the penalty area. Still Theo Walcott gets in the strike, way across the face of goal, and out the other side for a goal kick.
Well, that's their first meaningful effort, isn't it? And it wasn't a great strike from Theo Walcott there. He was running out of ideas, really. He didn't have many options either. It's come to him eventually, and he could have played it wide. He's decided to take the shot on, just bypass Adam Webster's legs and comfortably wide.
Bryson have played this one short. You talk about the strikers. If you're playing a duo like Welbeck and Connolly, is it too simple to say they want to get Connolly playing on the second balls?
Yes, it can be a little bit too simple, because I think Welbeck would like to stay central more often than not, and Connolly's job really, I suppose, with the amount of time Welbeck's been out, is to run the channel, so Welbeck won't want to find himself out there too many times making long busting runs. So unselfish work from Connolly, probably gets through many kilometres in an evening, but so far not really got himself into position, apart from once in the game where he's been really effective.
In the coming transfer windows though, do you see Brighton spending big on a proven front man to supplement goals in this side? Hang on, here's Gineppo crossing from the left here for Southampton, but comes to nothing, as you can tell from the fan reaction.
I don't think they will. I think it's very difficult to attract a top striker. I think their scouting team, their recruitment team will be scouring Europe, trying to find a player who can come in and surprise everyone. I'll be honest, the top players might not want to, unless you're coming to the end of their career, and they're hoping they might find a bit of form over a season and a half. But it's quite difficult for the likes of a Brighton, a Sheffield United, a West Brom, Burnley, for example, Fulham, to attract the top class players.
Here comes Southampton down the right hand side with Armstrong. Stepping into him is White, who's helping out on defensive duty, and he wins a throw in for his side. But how do you, so, you know, if you are Brighton and you say they can't attract a top level striker, are you constantly, how can you ever move on if you're not going to, you know, go and spend the big money and you're having to find the unproven gems?
Well, this is a difficult thing, isn't it?
Or is it an ownership thing then?
Well, it's probably a philosophy thing more than anything now. That's the philosophy of the football club. The academy itself is fairly in its infancy in terms of their recruitment, so they're hoping in 3 or 4 years' time that some of the players that were recruited at maybe 14, 15, 16 start making an impression in the first team area, so they're not going out and having to spend millions on maybe ageing forwards who are looking for a last payday.
Gineppo. That ball forward into Walcott, into the penalty area, losing his footing though, and Brighton will easily play this one away towards the halfway line, and Welbeck, who tries to help it on here to Connolly, and now Welbeck can take Connolly away down the left. Welbeck trying to get into the middle. Connolly is wide on the left wing, in towards Danny Welbeck now, and Vestergaard with a tiny touch away to find Alvio Romeo. A move that promised much but delivered little in the end.
Well, it was a little bit unfortunate. The amount of defenders that got back was impressive by Southampton, and just blocked out every avenue really for Connolly to find a ball there to Welbeck. Welbeck did get into the box, got himself into the correct position, but just the final ball, there was 3-4 Southampton players around Danny Welbeck.
Now, you're involved in academy football at a lower level in the English football pyramid. How does that work in terms of talking to the recruitment team and the scouts higher up at the club who are saying, look, you might be saying, look, we've got a striker at under 23 level or under 18 level, look, give him another year to develop instead of spending, you know, reasonably big money to go and buy someone in from elsewhere. Does that kind of happen on like a daily or weekly basis almost?
Just see this opportunity to get a
chance here for Southampton. Now the right Armstrong trying to play it across, he's blocked behind for a corner by March.
Well, I'm sure that they're investing heavily in recruitment because, you know, like I said, as I mentioned in my points earlier, you're not going to attract the best strikers in the world, so you have to have the right team, and you have to, you get a bit of luck sometimes. You know, you get a player that'll pop up and out of nowhere and cost relatively little money, and he goes and, you know, tears things up. But sometimes you might have to go out and buy a more experienced striker who's not quite at the end of his career but has got a proven record, and you've got to spend big money though on wages and fees.
Ward-Prowse's corner from the right here towards Vestergaard. 1-1. What a header there from Yannick Vestergaard. A towering header inside the penalty area. He sends the ball into the far corner. We said earlier Brighton will have to be wary of Southampton and set plays, and that was worked to perfection. 1-1.
Well, it's a brilliant header. It really is. I'm not sure why someone... I know Lewis Dunk is marking the central area, but when you have... I'm just trying to find which player it was. I think it was Joel Veltman who was meant to be marking Vestergaard, but he didn't do his job well enough, and then Lewis Dunk tries to help and retrieve the situation. He left his space, but it was a brilliant header in the end. And the height, and I mentioned the height earlier, Vestergaard and Bedinarak are the only two who are really going to cause problems, and then Vestergaard was left in an open area to get a free header, but he still had to execute it very well. So that's poor defending from Brighton when they were comfortably ahead in terms of possession and stats within the game, so they'll be disappointed just before half time to concede.
Vestergaard with that header in the final minutes of the first half. We are now into added time. There's going to be 1 minute added on, so we've got 30 seconds left here at the Amex. Brighton will be kicking themselves, won't they? First half that they have dominated really in terms of attacks and really restricted Southampton to opportunities in their penalty area. But James Ward-Prowse, what about that for a corner kick?
Yes, that's the quality he's got, isn't it? And that's why extra time should be spent on your defensive duties, particularly before you play Southampton, because that is the danger. And I'm surprised, like I said, that Veltman didn't do enough and wasn't tight enough initially. And then, as I mentioned, Lewis Dunk then has to try and come from an area where he felt comfortable. And I think he realised there was big trouble. Tried to get there, but he failed as well. So, a little opportunity here for Brighton. Literally, probably going to be the last action of the first half, but it's a free kick for Brighton.
Yeah, Dunk had that free run before, didn't he, in a similar position. Free kick wide on the right here, around 10 yards in from the touchline. Dunk's going to make a run forward again. Walker-Peters trying to block him off. It's swung into the box. Free chance at the far post, and wide it goes from Webster. Final chance of the first half, Alan McLaughlin, and another golden opportunity.
Yeah, that was a chance for Adam Webster. Not comfortable in them sort of areas, particularly on his left foot. I think he's tried to volley it back across the goal, and it ended up not either a shot or a cross, and he's just guided it beautifully over the bar, really, nice and comfortably. But half an opportunity again, and again, it's all about the free kick. I think free kicks in the main have caused most of the problems for both teams, but Southampton will be delighted to get back into the game because they really weren't in that first half in terms of any department, whether it be the defending department, midfield, or particularly up front. So they'll be delighted. The tone of the conversation at half time will change, but Brighton will have to pick themselves up after that disappointment because they were controlling the game at that point.
All square at the break. James Ward-Prowse's handball gave Brighton a penalty on 26 minutes to smash by Pascal Gross. Vestergaard with the equaliser. We'll go over the first half next. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talks Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
Wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spent my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions, and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Half-time here at the Amex, where the half-time score is Brighton 1, Southampton 1. 2 goals, Pascal Gross's penalty, the opener for Brighton, and Southampton equalising in the final 60 seconds of the first half. Alan McLaughlin has been watching alongside me in this first half. Alan, probably not a fair reflection of this first period, has it been, this score?
Probably not. I think Southampton will be arguing and debating the penalty that was given against them. I think they'll feel aggrieved about it, but as it stands, his arm was in a natural position, and unfortunately for him, in complete accident, it's hit his hand actually behind his head, so that was unfortunate, but they've somehow found a way back into the game, and it's that all-important set piece, isn't it? When you're not playing well and things are not ticking along, if you can get the right delivery into the box and you can get your movement correct, then you've got a chance of scoring. But Brighton, with the amount of the height they've got within their side, they'll be disappointed that they've conceded there right on half-time, 45 minutes, when they should be going into the break 1-0 up. But we've seen it many times before, haven't we? A team that's dominated the half really comes in and they'll be more disappointed at half-time than certainly anything. They're going to have to pick themselves up now, Brighton, in the second half, and that could lift Southampton in terms of what they might do, in terms of their approach to the second half. But I still think Danny Ings will come on, probably on 60-odd minutes. It'll be a work time that he comes on, and he needs some time. They need to get back on the pitch because they look a little bit toothless at the moment. Theo Walcott and Che Adams have had no joy at all, and it's been that set piece has got them out of jail.
Yeah, Neil Mopai, the regular penalty taker for Brighton, already scored 2 from the spot this season, but Pascal Gross stepping up this time to get his second goal of the campaign. Ward-Prowse penalised, really. I mean, it doesn't even matter anymore whether it's deliberate being above your head. If the hand is above shoulder height, it can be penalised, say the rules of the game. That's why that penalty was given, dispatched by Gross into the corner. But then Vestergaard with that header, as good as the header was, the marking was pretty shambolic, wasn't it, from Brighton?
Yeah, it was shambolic, and they seem to be, appeared to be marking zonally, and he's managed to get himself in a decent position, and again in that situation the person who's marking him's got to be touched tight, and he wasn't. And then, like I mentioned in commentary, Lewis Dunk then he's trying to help the situation, he's trying to go over and help his teammate, and he just can't get there. He's come from a position where he was, and he's tried to make up maybe 3 or 4 metres to get there, and he's just never getting there. But all credit to the goal scorer. He's directed the header perfectly and beautifully into the far corner, and it gives Southampton a lifeline. But like I said, if you get the set pieces right and they have a master in James Ward-Prowse, then they're going to be a threat at any point within the game.
As a former player yourself, are you pro zonal marking?
I'm not I don't mind. It's all about the players you have, and the confidence you have in the players to go and do the job. And again, they'll look at that situation and they'll become less confident about it. So it depends whether they decide to continue with it. I'm sure they've been pretty good. They'll look at the stats first before they make a decision on that. But I'd sooner people mark and do their jobs effectively and give responsibility to the person who you're marking to mark that person, rather than marking space. I've never been a huge fan of it, if I'm honest, and a little bit more old-fashioned. I would like the players to step up and do their job individually.
You were suggesting in the first half that Ralph van Haassenhoef was probably going to give his side a rocket at half-time. Do you think that goal alters things or not? Do you think he'll still get into them?
I think it alters his frame of mind, certainly, because he probably was going to go in there and maybe tear a strip off him, because it wasn't a familiar Southampton performance in terms of what I've seen recently. So certainly I think at half-time it's amazing how things can change. So his mindset will change into, well done fellas, got back in the game, but look, you have to do a lot better than that, because that was in the main fairly woeful, and if you play that second half you're going to get nothing from the game. So yeah, it's changed his mindset. He'll be buoying his players up, he'll remind them about set pieces and the quality of them, and saying that they might be vulnerable, Brighton, but also he'll be wanting his team to pass the ball more in terms of retaining possession and keep the ball from Brighton more, because at the moment they've just given the ball away too many times and not enough players have been effective enough in possession.
Do you think Graham Potter's half-time team talk would have been altered too much by that late goal?
I think certainly it would. I mean, obviously I don't know Graham Potter and I don't know how he acts in the changing rooms, but certainly there'll be initially probably an inquest into what happened, because that would have to be sorted out, because that Ward-Prowse will get 4, 5, 6 opportunities in the second half to get a ball into a good area. So that'll be the first point of contact, I would imagine, and then it would be about reminding them what they've done well in the half, and they'd sort of dominated the half. So there'll be plenty of positives, but he has to deal with that gross error really, which it was from them to give away such a needless goal late on.
Plenty of positives for Brighton. Southampton getting back into the game right at the end of the half. Here are the first half highlights. There was an arm up inside the penalty. The referee points to the spot, and Brighton have a penalty. That was absolutely bizarre. I don't think anyone could believe what they saw there. The arm was above his head, and the referee, David Coote, understandably points for a penalty. James Ward-Prowse there. Pascal Gross has 1 goal this season, and that came from the penalty spot right at the end of the draw against Liverpool last time out. Here, halfway through this first half, he has a chance to put them ahead against Southampton. It's Gross against McCarthy. Gross steps up and drives it into the corner, and these Brighton fans have a goal to cheer once again. It's been a long wait for them. Not since February have they been inside this stadium, but they're back now and they're cheering goals again. It's Brighton 1, Southampton 0. Ward-Prowse's corner from the right here towards Vestager. 1-1. What a header there from Yannick Vestager. A towering header inside the penalty area. He sends the ball into the far corner. We said earlier Brighton will have to be wary of Southampton as set plays, and that was worked to perfection. 1-1. So Brighton 1, Southampton 1 here at the break. Incidentally, the last time these two sides met, back in mid-July, that was the scoreline then. Mopai putting Brighton ahead before Danny Ings got Southampton back on level terms. We shall see whether Ings enters the fray in the second half. He's among the substitutes again tonight. We shall see what comes. Kick-off in the second half is coming in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport. Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at TalkSport.com now. Night Weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, texts, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar. Weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport. Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Gosh, no running there, boy. But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10 when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Gunner, a sporting legend and angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute...
Dynamic, double strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay? I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, who hands up? Who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4 only on Talk Sport. Paul Hogsby and Andy Jacobs. The radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines and topical... Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hogsby and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the hottest bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hogsby and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport. Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids. With the improved Talk Sport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder.
Talk Sport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Brighton Hove Albion against Southampton from the Amex. I'm your host, James Fielden, and alongside me is the former Manchester United Portsmouth Republic of Ireland midfielder Alan McLaughlin. This is Premier League Live. Alan's throat's struggling a bit, so hopefully there won't be too much action to get himself excited about in this second half, although enough to keep us excited. We'll see what happens. Danny Ings coming on at the break, Alan.
Yeah, surprised with that. I thought Danny Ings might, like I said, they might have a designated time for him to come on in terms of the amount of time he's been off. So, surprised with that, unless maybe Theo Walcott or Che Adams have some sort of injury. But yeah, it's 45 minutes. The manager's made a decisive decision. He feels his side, he doesn't look very happy. I'm just managing to have a look at him there. He doesn't look very happy at the moment, and you'll expect more from his teams, but maybe sends a message out to the Brighton players. Look, I'm sending on my best goal scorer, my most feared player in terms of the team and what he brings to the team, and I'm not going to wait to the 60th minute as I suggested. He's coming straight on.
Ings, their 5-goal top scorers, missed the last 3 games, with a knee injury. He comes on up front, just waiting to see who it is who he's replaced, and it looks like Walcott and Adams are both still out there. Who is missing? Is it Ginepu?
Potentially, yes. I think that might be the player, yeah, because he was booked as well, wasn't he?
That is true. Brighton restart us. They're kicking towards the north end of the ground in this second half. And it is Ginepu who's made way. Didn't look as though he got an injury, but it's enough for Arsenal to take him off at half-time, perhaps with that yellow card against his name. Normally when a player's coming back from injury, you normally think around the hour mark or 75 minutes you want to put them on no matter what the scoreline is, but quite bold to do it at half-time if there is no injury.
Well, it is, isn't it? And I can only think they're 100% happy with Ings' fitness, and they weren't happy with Gineppo in terms of what he'd done in the first half.
Makes sense for Walcott to go into a wide position again?
Yeah, he's gone to the left-hand side now, hasn't he? He'll be cutting in, I'd imagine, onto his right foot and trying to link with Ings and Che Adams. So, yeah, let's see whether Walcott could be a little bit more effective in the wide area.
I think there might be a few clubs sniffing around Ings in the January transfer window if he's fit and firing.
Potentially. I still think his knee issues he's had might put off some of the big teams in terms of investing very heavily and having to pay a really high price for him, which they will do, with someone who potentially might get injured again.
Well, here come Brighton straight away at the start of this second half. Gross goes down, challenge from Oriol Romeu just outside the box here, and he's going to go into David Cook's notebook. The Southampton players raging though that decision was given against them. Fair or not?
I'll have to see it again. I suppose so, yeah. He hasn't got the ball at all. He's prone to some heavy challenges. Although he didn't get the ball, I think it was a genuine attempt to get the ball. Whether it deserved a booking, I'm not 100% sure.
Playing in the midfield too, though, for the rest of this game on a yellow card. It's going to be tricky for him. He's now just one booking away from a suspension. Free kick here for Brighton. March standing over it along with Gross. Maybe just within shooting range, but it's left by March now. Gross standing over it. He'll curl this, into the box. White, Webster, Dunk, all going to attack this one. Gross lifts it now towards the far post. It's Webster coming in, and it's a substitute Ings who gets it away, and a free kick to Southampton.
I still think Southampton are light in terms of height. There's a little bit more on that free kick there. It was a little bit flat, which allowed Danny Ings just to get in front of Adam Webster, but they're just not set up quite right, and there might be a question offside as well, but the delivery can be better from the Brighton set piece taker. They've got some big players in there, and I must say Danny Ings, his first contribution to the game is a defensive header, which was fantastic.
If they can drop that ball right between defence and goalkeeper, with the three big hitters Brighton have got, they should be scoring so many goals, shouldn't they?
Well, yeah, they should be doing a lot, particularly tonight. They've had opportunities, a couple of opportunities, but the free kicks haven't been brilliant.
Free kick Southampton here after Oriol Romeu was bundled to the ground just inside the Brighton half. Graham Potter chatting with his backroom staff here about how things have worked out at the start of this second half. A man who made his name in Sweden as a coach, a playing career here with the likes of Birmingham, Stoke, played for Southampton as well for a spell, West Brom, York and Macclesfield. Southampton in possession with Walker Peters coming in off the right hand side. Potter played for Southampton only a handful of times in the 96-97 season before moving on to the Hawthorns and West Bromwich Albion. Ings, left corner of the penalty area for Southampton, scoops in the box towards Walcott. Brighton able to clear. Armstrong wide again to Bertrand. Armstrong by the left hand corner flag. Looking to play it back here, hits it against the boot of Bertrand, and Brighton will help the ball away. 4 minutes gone in this second half, 1-1.
Well, Southampton had more possession in the first 4 minutes than they had virtually in the whole of the first half.
Down the left-hand side, Bertrand crossing the ball in. Thought it was going to spin behind for a corner, but in the arms of Ryan it is in the end. He gets rid of it straight away down the right-hand channel, looking for the run here of Welbeck. Bednarek, the Polish defender, steps across and puts it into touch.
It's amazing, the odd long ball just out of the blue can cause so many problems, and Bednarek at that point managed to clear it, but if it was slightly better ball and then to Welbeck's foot, then it's a 2v2.
Do you think goalkeepers now have better distribution than they used to have, maybe in your playing days, for example?
Yeah, of course, without doubt. I mean, they spend half their session, using the ball and playing the ball and passing the ball and kicking the ball. So, yeah, and they work within the framework of your team as well. So, whether you're playing out from the back, I mean, they're key to it. So, yeah, it's certainly a lot better, different from certainly in the early part of my career.
What do you think sparked the change? Why Was it a foreign influence maybe, that people were seeing that from foreign managers? Brighton coming forward here with Lamptey down the right-hand side, tries to get the cross in, goal kick given. Yeah, just wondering whether, do you think it was the foreign influence ultimately that changed things? We saw, goalkeepers coming from further afield who had these skills that the English goalkeepers maybe weren't nurturing.
I think it was just a shift in culture, really. I think the likes of Pep Guardiola coming to the Premier League, and a shift in culture, and everyone wanting to try and, I suppose they had to believe in themselves that they could actually produce the sort of football that they were hoping to do, and just believe in the players a little bit more and trust them a little bit more.
Welbeck has gone down here. It looked like he was caught by Bednarek, the Southampton defender, but he's the man who's been penalised somewhat harshly, and the home fans not happy about it.
I think the referee, David Coote, assumes that Welbeck ran into Bednarek, but Welbeck's obviously come out worse for wear. He's caught the top of his right shoulder. He's holding that. The last thing he wants now is another unforeseen injury. I'm not sure how. Hopefully Welbeck isn't booked. I mean, both eyes fixed on the ball. I think more than anything the game should have just been stopped, really, for just the potential injuries to Welbeck rather than anything else.
Really just a natural coming together. Neither of us really found each other. We played 6.5 minutes in the second half. Welbeck still feeling that one on his shoulder. Neil Mopa, I'm sure, will be warming up down the touchline just in case he's required. Ball forward by McCarthy. Walked on by Adams, looking for the run of Ings, headed away by Veltman, down by Gross for Bissouma in midfield, a cultured player, picks up March on the left-hand side, gets over the halfway line here, way down the left wing, Armstrong getting back against him, slides in to win the ball perfectly, and Walker-Peters emerges with it. Down the right here, but Dunk turns it home to Ryan. Out to the right hand side and Lamptey. White. Veltman. High ball forward into the path of Gross. Welbeck now central position, back to goal, works it out to the left hand side. March joining in edge of the penalty area, crossing opportunity in towards Connolly, well headed away, it comes out to Bissouma who strikes it, doesn't catch it cleanly. Welbeck in there, touched on by Connolly, and into the arms of McCarthy.
Well, that's better play from Brighton. I think if Aaron McLean doesn't go for the shot, I think Welbeck gets another opportunity because he's initiated the attack, he's gone wide. Solly March with a reasonable ball in, good defending header, and then there's a miss-hit shot really, comes to Welbeck, he half miscontrols it, but he's facing the goalkeeper, and if he has the opportunity to get a second touch, he might have got something on that, but Connolly's instincts were just to try and hook it towards goal, and he sort of like got in Welbeck's way in the end, and half an opportunity has gone a begging.
Let's say throw in here for Brighton on the right hand side. Mopai trying to keep himself warm on the substitutes bench tonight. They'll only exist for subs at the moment, all spatially separated on the seats behind what would normally be the subs bench. March down the left hand side for Brighton, another good outlet for him. For them, rolls it down the line, looking for the run here of Gross, who's drifted into a wide position, puts a high ball into the box, but an easy catch for Alex McCarthy.
Well, the game's ebbing and flowing, isn't it? There's no one team dominating the game. Both teams equally in this game. So certainly the first 7 or 8 minutes of this second half, Southampton started the better. Brighton in the last few minutes have managed to find a little bit of rhythm to what they're trying to achieve, and particularly down the left hand side, once Southampton, Kyle Walker-Peters advances forward, they're looking to expose and try and hurt him in that space.
Given what we've seen from both of these teams so far this season, where do you think they can expect to finish if they perform to their maximum?
Probably Brighton around about 12th, 13th position if they get things right, particularly scoring more goals, and Southampton will be between 11th and 8th position in terms of where I'd anticipate them to finish, because I think they're well drilled by Hasselhoedl, and they have as long as they keep their main players reasonably fit, I think that's potentially where they could finish. I don't think it'd be any higher than that.
Bissouma, edge of the penalty area here, goes down, no free kick in his favour. now lost it. Adams plays a quick ball forward down the right. He was caught late.
Booking.
Free kick here. 2 seconds to the yellow card. He's out predicted by Alan.